Nandito kami sa retreat. Advent Recollection. Ate, gusto ko yung Teo yan. Ayan, gusto ko yan. Picture pwede.
Camera?
Pwede.
Ha?
Picture.
Merry Christmas!
Teka lang nga. Remembrance. Dito kami sa aming retreat. Aming Advent Recollection.
Okie dokie.
Doki doki.
How are you?
Fine, Father.
Help us to find you, people, but today especially to find you in the bottom of our hearts. Help us to discover the joy of your friendship and lead us in the way you want our life to go. We ask you this in the same Christ our Lord. Okay. Most welcome. All right. So, you are from the Philippines.
Yes!
Matagal ba kayo dito? Ilang taon?
8 years. 6 going 8.
Pareho tayo. Pareho tayo. 6 years going to 20 years. It was 27 years in the Philippines.
Wow.
Which part in Philippines?
Basilan,
Oh? Ang layo.
Zamboanga.
Sa Bacano.
Sa Bacano ka?
Yes.
¿Dónde?
Zamboanga City.
Nasa Bacano. Yo ya trabajado en Vitali. Sa Vitali, pero antes de que tú naces.
Naintindihan yun ni sister.
Zamboanga City is a city, but actually it's very big. I was there in 1979.
Wow, I was 4 years old.
Oh, I know. With Father Bernardo. You see, when he came to the Philippines, he was already old. So, he was a very spiritual man. He would spend 2 hours, he was living in a squatter area, and come to the house, thank you, come to the house every day for 2 hours of prayer. One day I met him, going out of the chapel, I was crossing there. I said, Bernardo, why are you here? He said, I don't know. Maybe God is calling you so that we can do the Bible in English. If you think that that is an inspiration from the Lord, we have to pray for discernment. Well, that is the little story of the Christian Community Bible that came out. Of course, Bernardo was French, the same as the priest we celebrated today. And he learned a little bit of English, but he was not very good in English. So we had people who knew English very well, so we prepared. When we were finishing the Bible in English, the idea came, you know, there are so many people in the Philippines who do not know English, they read Tagalog. So we need the Bible in Tagalog. Yeah, but that was a different story. So we didn't talk too much about that. The day we finished the last page of manuscript for the Christian Community Bible, Bernardo tells me, Bernardo was a very humble person. He never had money in his pocket, nothing. He asked me for 20 pesos. I said, Bernardo, where are you going? For the bus. He didn't want to tell me. Bernardo, where are you going? He was much older than me. Finally, he told me to Pantranco. Things familiar?
Yes.
At that time, the bus terminal, but at that time, at the back of the bus terminal in Pantranco, there was a language school, Tagalog language school. he went to that school to learn Tagalog.
Oh.
The Bible, you see, when you have the Bible in Tagalog, you don't know this story. Of course, being an old man, but very intelligent, he could not learn, Tagalog, but we had other priests who help us. One of them is Father Baisas. Any of you know Father Baisas? Bienvenido Baisas, Franciscan? No. An old man, now still alive. He was the best biblical scholar in the Philippines, Tagalog speaking. So I went there to ask him for help. He helped us. So we gave the most difficult book of the New Testament, which is the Gospel of John. You are familiar with the prologue. At the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And this is not easy to translate. So he did that. I said, can you do one chapter and then give it to us, and we will see, give our feedback. I was planning to give it to other people. He gave us a prologue translation. And Bernardo was there also, so I gave a copy to him. I said, okay, you here, at least you have the translation of the prologue. Half hour later, he comes back. And the paper that I have given him, full of red marks. I said, Bernardo, what did you do? There is no need to say these things in Tagalog. It's better if it is like that. I said, you are just learning Tagalog. This is a biblical scholar. And I said, what do I do now? So I know Father Francisco, Father Bienvenido Baisas. So I said, I have to go and beg him. So I said, Father Baisas, I'm so sorry. This is what I done. He looked at that and he said, he's right. He's right. We can say these things simpler in Tagalog. Where the finger of God is for a mission, even the instruments are very poor. The Lord will make miracles.
Yes, yes, Father.
The Lord will suffice. All right? You have to think about that. When you think that the mission that you have in life is very difficult, you don't see the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. You have to remember, I think it was Mother Teresa who told us, you are not asked to be successful, you are asked to be faithful. That's the point. So I'm giving you a little bit of a background. So we went on and we translated the Bible in 12 languages. Cebuano, Ilonggo, Bahasa, Korea, Vietnamese, different editions. And the latest crazy idea, since Sister, remember when I first went to Macau, I spent 10 years in Macau after the Philippines, and then 6 years here. Okay. We also saw the need to have a new Bible translations for Catholics in Chinese. So we started dreaming about that. 16 years later, we are finishing the translation of the Bible into Chinese now. The New Testament has already been published. Okay. So we have it in Chinese traditional and Chinese simplified. A couple of years ago, I went to Rome for a meeting. And we had a chance to meet Pope Francis. Okay? So, in a meeting, international meeting, we were from 70, 80 countries, 160 people. So when that happens, Holy Father doesn't have time to chat with you. So, but we were able to go, hello, just that, say, shake hands, and then the people are just saying, just say, shake hands with 100+ people. But I said, I took my Chinese Bible, the new translation, okay, the new translation of the Bible. And knowing that Pope Francis, it's his style, it's very informal. He's very informal. Okay? And he's from Argentina. He lived in my city. And like in all languages, in Tagalog also, when you speak with a professor, with a priest, you have a certain language, a certain way of talking, huh? Po, 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 all the time, you know, like telling, respect. But when you talk with your kids, you use another language.
Yes.
All languages have that. Spanish, especially in Argentina, they also have that. It's kind of street language. But that is what we use with our parents, with our friends. We don't talk the formal way. Come here. Venga aquí. Vení para acá, che. Okay? You know, that is an expression, this is just an example. So, I was there in line, towards the end of the line. I had the Bible like this, book, Chinese, so you can see that it's Chinese. I look at him, and I spoke in Spanish. I did not say Holy Father. I look at him, and I said, firmalo.
Hermano.
Which he understood. Yeah. Sign it. What kind of an order? Sign it. He was smiling, you know, like that. Yeah, you know, the other people, you know, there were other cardinals and other people around looking at me like that. And the Pope just had a beautiful smile.
Where is the photo?
Yeah, beautiful smile.
You have the Vanessa? The one that you have your gift? Okay, go.
Yeah, and then he looks at me and he points a finger to me like that. And he says, to you, I will sign, for you I will sign anything except a check.
Ah.
Yeah, this is
Wow.
a
I see. It's him. Siya
You
yun.
have it.
Siya.
You know, my companions, they just printed. You see, we're both of us are laughing. The people didn't know what to do with us. You know, it was very nice. Very nice. Okay. So, by the way, the story of this Bible diary, you might not know. One day, 9 o'clock at night, there was another priest in our community. We were two at the Moralera. So we had a lot of work because at that time, parish, school, publication, he was a superior provincial. We were only two. And he had meetings with lay people. One night, 9 o'clock, I still remember, June 1985, he enters back from the church, you know, making a noise like that, and he calls me and he said, I just come from a meeting with lay people in the parish. Yes, I knew. They want the gospel of every day, a little commentary, and a place to write. That's the idea. That is how Bible diary came. First one in the world. First one in the world. Then after that came 365 days and all the other books, you know, that other people copied. It's fine. But that is how 36 years ago we started with the Bible diary.
Oh.
And Bible diary is now published in 29 languages, more than 1 million copies every year. Okay? I'm preparing now the Bible diary 2025.
Advanced.
24 and 25, 23 we finish.
Wow.
Because we have to work ahead of time. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And what I want to tell you about the Bible diary that you have, either in the small daily gospel or Bible diary, is that the commentaries this year are very good. They are so good, written by a psychologist, priest, biblical scholar, and spiritual director. that he has, in every commentary, he has spirituality, Bible, theology, psychology, and feet on the ground, reality today. You will like that, simple, punchline every day. I call him out, I know him, Father Paulson, originally from India, he's working in Rome and Spain. I said, I like your commentaries very much, more than the other years other people could. And I said, can I translate that into Spanish? He said, yes. I finished. I did all the translation already in 3 days. Kasi matanda na, pero ang hard disk, may lugar pa.
Nice. Galing.
And then, my secreto, you know, there is a program now on internet that is very good. You know, internet has very bad things, but also have very beautiful things. I'm going to talk to you about that later. So, somebody mentioned that there was a program for translation to many languages, Tagalog, developed by a university in the United States. So, I put all the year commentaries in English. My father gave it to me in Word. Okay? I pasted in that program, and I said, Spanish translation. 5 minutes later, I had the 365 days translated already. Of course, you have to read, retouch a little, but in 1 hour I did 1 month. It's very good. Many modern languages, okay? And very good, really. Of course, I bought the subscription, but it's also free if you have 1 page to translate. For example, from any language, you know that you can check. The program name is deepl.com. Deep is like the deep in English, huh? D-E-E-P, deepl.com.
Deepl.com.
Deepl.com. So you can go free for the translation of that, maybe 1 page at a time. Now, since I bought the subscription for the whole year, and I put much bigger documents that I use, because I use that every day. So that is the story. So I need also your little prayer, because the most important project that we have now is the Bible in Chinese, and we have the Bible in Chinese, simplified Chinese for mainland China, and traditional Chinese here. It's difficult, because we have very few biblical scholars in Chinese. But I hope and pray that maybe in a year's time we can finish. The draft is finished already. All right. So, that was a very long introduction. You laughed for a while. I got more stories, but for another time. Now I want to listen a little bit, because I was asking sister, okay, sino kayo talaga? You know, who are you? Why are you here this afternoon? What is your program, so to say, for spirituality, for your growth? What do you do? Sister was telling me that you have like 5
Ideas.
First,
To read, meditate, and savor the Holy Gospel every day.
do you do that?
Yes, Father.
Sigurado?
Yes, Father.
Second,
To imitate Christ.
to eat rice?
To imitate Christ. Father. To imitate Christ.
Masarap ang rice talaga. Kasi kung wala ng rice, utong pa. Talaga? Correct.
Correct.
Sir,
To live in four means.
four.
To do profound and prolonged prayer.
Do you have time for that?
Yes, Father. To do profound.
Do you watch movies?
Sometimes.
Yes. Do you know some Hollywood actors? Yes. Some, yes. There is one by the name of Denzel.
Washington.
See? Caught you. Caught you. He's good, right?
Yes.
Can I tell you a story about him?
Okay.
Oh.
His son, who was graduating at the school, he was invited by the school to give a speech. Of course, being Denzel Washington, he was there. I don't remember many things that he said, but one thing that he said I remember. It was I saw it in the YouTube. He said, when you go to bed at night, make sure that you put your, how do you call it, your shoes,
Your two.
sneakers, whatever that you are using.
Ah.
Don't just leave it there in
Shoes.
front of your bed. Put it down, inside, bucket,
Bucket.
so that when in the morning when you get up, you will force to be on your knees and you remember that your life belongs to God.
Yes.
Huh? You got it?
Yes.
So, put, so you, first thing you do in the morning, on your knees. That was nice. So that's the fourth one. What's the fifth one?
To do apostolate.
Very beautiful. I can assure you, if you do that, you go to heaven. Yes, we all meet there again. Now, let's talk a little bit about the first. The first one is
To read, meditate, and say the word, the Holy Gospel every day.
in the Philippines, 20 years ago, came two sisters from Latin America, from Bolivia, South America. One was a young sister, the other was a very old sister. And they belonged to a congregation, Franciscan Missionaries of St. Elizabeth. We never heard about that. Providence got that they came to our house asking for help. The young sister was also a medical doctor. And the congregation had 15 sisters around the world. They were dying, most of them already old. They felt the inspiration to come to the Philippines, not knowing what to do. We helped them at the beginning, saying bye. After a while, the old sister might have to go back to her country, and this young sister, you know what she's going to do? But they were people, sisters, the same as you just said, who really took the gospel seriously. And they dedicated their life to help the poor, but not just helping the poor. In the Philippines, people are poor, and the hospitals have to accept them. So public hospitals, they have to accept poor people. But there are some poor people that not even the hospitals accept. So this sister started taking care in the squatter areas, the people who were not even accepted in the hospital. God bless them. They were, mothers about to give birth. This sister, then little by little they put a dispensary, something, and he got permission from the government to exercise as a doctor. They had more than 200 births in the convent. She was so proud, he said, all so poor. Not one of them died. And the years passed, and now this congregation has 300 sisters, 100 of them in the Philippines. They don't know where to put them anymore. They graduated, they go to school, they study nursery, many of them as nurses to help the poor. They go to college. Their mother house was in Italy. They sent to, as soon as the young professed sisters graduated, many of them went to Italy. They studied at the university, higher grades. Many of them, I just gave a talk to them in Rome. I'll tell you what they did, what they do. Their ministry, the last apostolate that you said, they spent a lot of their time, they have to go to the squatter areas and do what they can. Teach catechism also to kids. But when it comes to the gospel, this is what they do. The gospel of the day, they have to learn by heart. They are divided then in groups, and they have, each one of them in their group, they have to recite, repeat the gospel by heart. During the meals, they read the Bible. When they go to Mass in the evening, in their place, every day, they are divided in groups. They have to represent the gospel. So they dress like maybe like Jesus or like the Pharisees, or that, and they have like kind of a little theater there during the Mass. Eventually, girls came from other countries. Myanmar, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines. So when they pray, the Mass is in 10, 15 languages. Everybody learned the prayers of everybody else. But my point to you is, I think that God really blessed them because they are connected with Jesus in a deep way. Okay? That's very important. You know, we all have cell phones, right?
Yes,
I was one of the last one. In the Philippines, at the end of the last year, everybody in publication, we have about 30 employees. Everybody had a cell phone already. It was at the beginning of the year 2005, 2004. Everybody. Even the guy who was sweeping the floor, he also had his cell phone. And I did not have. So, the core group that was around my, we call it maybe the executive, those who were working. Father, we cannot see you. You're the only one who doesn't have a cell phone. So, without telling me, they went and bought. They had money from there, they bought a cell phone. So they gave me a cell phone. Okay? 3 months later, since I trusted them very much, they said, here is your cell phone. Father, pack it. I said, I did not call anybody and nobody called me. I don't need it. So I returned the cell phone. But when I came to Macau and Hong Kong, here we need. Here we need. We need the cell phone here. Communicate all the time. Silly. If you don't have a cell phone, you cannot do banking, you cannot do enter anywhere. But you see, the cell phone, as you well know, has a chip.
Yes.
That is how the cell phone works, right? Yes. Have a chip. The chip is very tiny. And it holds so much information. Amazing, right?
Yes.
This is the chip. See, the gospel is like a chip. has so much there. When you look at a chip, you and me, we say a chip, piece of metal. We not distinguish if it is this kind of metal or another. You can read the gospel and not understand anything. But the gospel is a mystery in itself. So much there. Lucky we that Jesus also said, blessed are those fools in spirit, really, that, the secrets of God are given to them and not to the learned. So learned alone is not enough. You can be a very good biblical scholar, but that is not enough. But that does not excuse us to also to learn a little bit more in depth, a little bit. When you go from here to Central, you take the ferry, right? Or you go from Hong Kong to the other side, to Kowloon, take the ferry. What do you see? You see water, beautiful. Especially if you go in a nice day here, when you take the ferry from Wu Wo to Central, the scenery, the mountains, the sunset, it's beautiful. And you like it, that's very nice. But you don't know, you don't see what is beyond the water, or the life that is there. Have you been in an aquarium? Aquarium here in Hong Kong or somewhere else. Aquarium is a place, it's a glass, you can see the fish, they are there, all kind. You see a lot of things that if you are on the top, you don't see anything.
Yeah.
That is what happens with the gospel. We have to pray with the gospel. We have to read it every day. We have to memorize the gospel. Yes, if you can do that, it's very good. That's not enough. That is why the church is asking us also to go a little bit deeper, to understand a little bit more what really the gospel is. And after Vatican II, especially in the last 60 years in the church, there are so many very good biblical scholars, people who go deep into the language, the culture, the architect, the backgrounds. They tell us details that we didn't know. By ourselves it would be impossible to know. So many things have changed. That in last century, 18th, 19th century, people did not know. Now we know. And so the documents that come from the church invites us to go a little bit deeper into the knowledge of the gospel. I'm going to give you just 3 points for us to understand a little bit, maybe to invite us to see the gospel like from a little bit from below, not only from top. Okay. I'm going to mention 3 things. Okay. First is the text. The text is the gospel. There are many translations of the Bible. Protestants also have many translations of the Bible, especially in English and Spanish. Chinese, there are very few, but that's why we are making a new one. And so, we have to be very careful when we translate, because we have to be faithful to the original languages. The original languages, especially Hebrew and Greek, are basically poor languages, spoken languages in the street 2,000 years ago. Now we have many more nuances to express, right? So that is why the church, when we translate the Bible, they want to study the manuscript that we do to make sure that that corresponds to the original. And that is called the imprimatur. That means it can be printed. And the bishop has scholars to look at that. But the translations could be addressed for intellectuals, or it can be addressed to catechists, or it can be addressed to people who have very little knowledge. For example, our Bible in Chinese now, we have one that Catholics have, it's called the Singao Bible. But It is written 60 years ago. And many people find it difficult to understand that Chinese. So we need to go and find the way people talk today and translate in a way that people can understand. That's why in English we have more than 40 different translations of the Bible. You'll find differences in the translation. It's okay. If it is approved by the church, it's okay. You have many Bible translations. One are more for study, like the Jerusalem Bible, or you have very technical Bibles like Revised Standard Version, or New Revised Standard Version, or you have the Bible that have been revised for use in the United States, the New American Bible Revised Edition, NABRE, or you have the Christian Community Bible that we do for our simple people here. And the church also asks us, translators, that not only we give the text, but also put some commentaries so that the tradition of the church will be reflected. You see, the tradition of the church has two traditions. One is capital T, big tradition, and there are many smaller T. There are some traditions that are meant to disappear. They are good for one time change. There are other traditions. So when the church asks us to take care of the tradition of the church, we need to know which ones are the ones that have to be maintained. That is a little bit technical, just to tell you that we have to be very careful, and we are. So, the commentaries of Bible Diary that you have will help you to connect your personal life with the text. The text is more important.
Yes.
But this is just a help. And I'm telling you, that it's a very nice help. Same with the Bible, like the Christian Community Bible. So the first thing is the text. So you have to choose a text that you can understand. Well, then there are two other words I want to share with you. One is pretext, and the other is context. Okay? So we have text, pretext,
Context.
context. So we understand what is the text, right?
Yes.
We can talk a little bit more later about that. What is the pretext? Because the text of the Bible is the same for Chinese and for Latin Americans and for Filipinos. It's the text. Now, the other two elements, the pretext and the context, is different. The pretext is the reality that you have around you. You are in Hong Kong. You are not in Manila. You're in the province. You're in the Philippines. The reality here is different. You are working, I suppose, as domestic helpers, some of you. The reality there is not the same as in Manila. The reality of your boss in the house is not the same as, I don't know how they treat you. Sometimes they don't treat you very well. That's the context. Context is that we are not in a first world country. We are in a first world country, but we live a third world reality. It was just on the paper 2 days ago that Hong Kong has been named the most expensive city in the world for expatriates. So, what you can do in other countries with little money, you cannot do here. Plus, you have to face that your salary maybe is not very good. You have to face the reality that you have to send money to the Philippines, most probably, like all Filipinos do. And they don't know how poor you live here and all the privations that you have. And sometimes they don't use the money wisely when you send them there. This is the pretext. So you have to know to read the gospel from that reality. Let's say that you live in a very nice family. You say that you live in a rich family. You say that they treat you very well. When they read the gospel, they have a different pretext, different from you. So maybe the text that you read, it tells you something that doesn't tell them. or the other way around. It's not exactly the same. It's so much richness. You see, the gospel is good news. In Hebrew, we call Word of God Dabar Yahweh. Dabar, word. It's a concept that is not only something that is written, it's something that is alive. Alive. That's why the gospel is alive. And I am sure that generations will come after us. We think that we have made so much progress, and it's true. I'm so happy. It was exposed to all this progress. But generations that will come will discover other aspects of the gospel. The world in which we live is not the same world of 40, 30 years ago.
Yes.
Destruction of nature. Tomorrow we are having a typhoon in December here in Hong Kong. It's going to rain Monday and Tuesday. We never had rains in December. The world is changing. That is a pretext. We can do very little with the pretext. We need to adjust. We need to be conscious. We have to be good citizens. We have to care for the earth. Remember the document of the church, Fratelli Tutti. We are all responsible. In our own little way, when you take care of the earth, you are fulfilling God's commands. You are following the gospel as well. It's not separate. We can never separate text, pretext, and context. So text is what it is. Pretext is the reality. Reality, a personal reality, your family reality, the place where you work, the city where you live, the world that we have today with the pandemic. I just realized now that I'm the only one not wearing a mask. So I'm going to give you that freedom. I got my third shot already. Okay?
That's
So, you get it? Text,
Kalimutan niya mag-face mask.
pretext. What is the context? Context is this. The community.
Community.
Context is a church. Context is the local church. Context is your sense of belongingness. You are not really the captain of yourself. You are a member of a group. You help each other. You pray for each other. When somebody needs something, you are there to help. You want to listen to what the church is telling you, what the Pope is saying. There are some Catholics that they do not like this Pope. Do you know that? So I am pushing my companion, the community, who is the director of the examiner, newspaper of the diocese, to write about an article. You cannot be Catholic and be against the Pope. It's either or. You can say that you do not agree with certain things, but you cannot attack. You know a little anecdote when the Pope was traveling recently on a plane. All the reporters are there asking questions. So this reporter, the microphone said, "Holy Father, I want to let you know that we are praying for you." You know the answer of the Pope? Yeah. I know that Mother Angelica is praying for me, but not you. You are attacking me. Your group is always attacking me. Why? Very strong, huh? Okay? Now, right. Not everything that you hear, that's why you need the community, you need discernment. Social media today says a lot of lies.
Yes.
A lot of lies.
Yes.
So you need a filter. To whom do you really believe? For that you need the help of the community, or the help of the church. Many people don't get vaccinated today because they say that, whatever reason they have. That is wrong. Because you have to, in the church, following Jesus, you have to pay attention to science as well. And because it's not you, it's the rest. you're living with other people. If one of us is infected here, tomorrow all will be infected. We are breathing the same air. And we have to be responsible also for each one of us. I don't like your, I don't want. Yeah, even if you don't want, we want it for you because you might die. And today was in the news also that maybe this pandemic will last another 2 years. New reality. So now how do we connect with our study and praying with the gospel with this? You see, you have the pretext, that's the reality, the pandemic is pretext. We cannot do anything about that. Before we read the gospel, it's already there. The context is our family, our basic community, our group, our sense of identity, together in the church. And then we have the text. And I have no idea what time is. Do you want to ask any question or comment so far? Mahira ba? Mahira?
What?
Okay. More or less. I encourage you to keep on reading this, please. Memorize it. One thing that you can do, just an idea of it. We as human beings, some days we are flying high and so happy. Some other days we are blue, things go wrong. So we have our up and downs. And we know that the gospel have a lot of sayings of Jesus. So why don't you select, let's say select, you're familiarized with the gospel. Select 10 sentences. When you are feeling super excited, look for some sentence where Jesus explained that discipleship also means to take the cross. That you want to be a follower, there is a path. Renounce, take your cross and renounce and follow me. But select also other passages when you are down that tells you, yeah, but Good Friday, is just a moment. There is something beyond that. And we are called to be with Jesus. Other passages that tell you about how God loves you, how gratuitously God loves you. And no matter what you do, you might stop saying that you love God. God cannot do that because you are a child of God. You are a creation of God. You are a work of art. Unique, that God will not repeat again. Be reminded. And God does not create junk. Okay?
Yes.
And that is for every human being. So beautiful. So, you have it in your within cell phone, maybe a few sentences like that. Depends on your mood. You cannot sometimes learn moody, for good or for bad. Take these sentences that make more meaning to you. That will be very concrete. Something, a suggestion. If you want. When I was in Macau, one day, a Jesuit holy man, priest, by the name of Father Sequeira. Father Sequeira calls me up and says, there are a group of sisters here, it would be nice if they receive some Bible classes. Can you help them? You remember? You started coming to our house. I don't remember what year was that, maybe 2013 or so, 8 years ago or so. I never thought of doing that, but Father Sequeira said, I am busy, you know, and he was at that time a little sick also, you know, after he had some stroke. So he said, okay, once a week, the sisters would come to our house in Macau. We started giving some Bible classes, mainly in preparation for the Sunday meeting. You remember at that time, even I talked to you, I discovered one Italian priest was giving very nice comments into the scriptures. Father Armelini, and I started talking to you about that. You know what happened now? I've been working. I visited him a few months ago in Italy. We became good friends. Yeah. Last year was very short, actually. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that because today we are not going to focus on the pretext or the context. Maybe that another day. You know, you do that on your own. But on the text, there is so much there that even if you learn by heart, still is like going fishing with a, just like that. You don't see. And what happens with the oceans and here on Earth, we don't know what is there. We know more about Mars, the planet, than we know about the oceans. Scientists say that we know only 5% of the life of the oceans. Much to learn. The gospel says. Now, I started working with this man and feel renewed my heart. I learned very much, not only with him. So, I'm going to invite you to make the experience if you want, to listen to the videos that we post every week. Free. Okay, YouTube. Can you open YouTube?
Yes.
I mean, okay, if you have a cell phone, you can open now. We will try.
Open the YouTube.
Because, as I was saying before, sometimes we don't like the internet, or you can find so many bad things there. But it's the same as the world. You find what you're looking for. There are very beautiful things there, and I'm going to tell you some very concrete things about it. So we, especially in this time of COVID, we are working with the internet because that is how we teach. With Zoom, with WhatsApp, and so forth. Father Piotr, for example, this afternoon, he has a Bible class for China via internet. Okay? Very difficult now in China because religion is any religious material in internet is forbidden. You cannot put any religious material. So it's very challenging for us because my main work is in China. Mm-hmm. Do you know the program QQ? QQ. Okay. QQ, some of you know. It's like WhatsApp. But it works well in China because all the other programs, Gmail, Facebook, YouTube, in China they cannot open that. But QQ, yes, so we send every day the gospel, little explanation, catechetical materials for them via QQ. So far we can do it. We have to be very careful because they can close. Nothing happened to me, but the people who receive that, have to be careful for them. All right. So we have every week, every day, we put materials that can help you. Okay, one that is every day that we started a year ago. We were in this place here. We call the parishioners. We are 4 priests here. 4 or 5 priests are working in this area. We call the parishioners here. Today we want to listen to you. What do you think about our parish? What do you think about what we are doing here? Tell us. We are not going to Speak. You speak. What do you need? What do you want us to do for you? And a couple of parishioners said, you see, Father, we work. We have to take the bus or the ferry. And we have the Bible diary things. We can read, but traveling, we don't like to read. We don't want to listen. So can you record the gospel every day with a little comment for us? We took that. And ever since November 1st last year, Father Jos has that program. That program is called Coffee with God. You type Coffee with God.
Coffee with God.
Some of you were there on Saturday when I celebrated the 50th anniversary. Some of you got a Starbucks copy. And there is a QR code there. You can look into internet, Coffee with God. Okay? Coffee with God. What is it? Okay, first, Father asks somebody to read the Gospel of the day. And then he has a 3-minute commentary on the Gospel. You have another commentary on Bible diary. So, you can listen as many times as you want. And let me tell you a little parenthesis. We are not using the Christian Community Bible. We are using another translation of the Bible, which is called the Message Bible. Message Bible is a translation with street language. So you will hear the gospel that you know by heart, spoken a little bit different. It will impact you. It's the same gospel, but with different words. So that is the first program that I would recommend to you. Listen the gospel or read the gospel every day. Now you have no excuse because you all have cell phone. It's free. Coffee with God. Can you find it? Do you have a group like in WhatsApp or whatever that when you share something everybody gets? Okay, whatever. If you have one address, then at the end of my talk, just give it to me. I will go in WhatsApp and I will send to you the links so you can pass it to the rest. That will be better. Okay? So now I'll just mention to you. Okay? Ano ba to? Somebody put us in Facebook already. Not in Facebook, in WhatsApp. Party. Somebody took a picture of our meeting here. Okay. Not you as a parishioner.
No one.
I'm not very fan of cell phone. I use it because I need it, but we have so many things. Coffee with God, we have it in Chinese as well.
Ipacheck mo daw kung alin kay Father.
You have that, no?
It's almost the same.
But it's also a program there. An hour of class on Bible, on the Gospel. The Gospel we are going to read this coming Sunday. You receive the class here. Little by little, we go deeper into the meaning of the Gospel. And I presented in such a way, it's easy. First, when you subscribe, you will see. You have the video. You're familiar with videos. You see that there is a little wheel. You can choose the language. Right? You choose the language. So, I have it in 4 languages. English, Spanish, Chinese, Portuguese sometimes, Chinese traditional, Chinese simplified. So you choose if you want to watch, to read the subtitles, then you choose your language. Or the speaker talks in a language that you do not understand. So what I do every week, I listen to the speaker, I translate, and then I do the subtitles, and I also do the voice over for my friend Father Joe, as in English, that's the voice over. So you just press the video, you are listening in English. You do not listen to the original language. That you do not, we turn off that language. So voice over. We also have the option. You say, wow, I like this one, or he said too many things, I forgot what he said. I would like to, do I listen again? No need. Because I also put the whole text, whatever the professor is talking, the text is all there. Okay. Not only that, that is the spoken language. He begins a good Sunday to all. So you know it's spoken language like I'm doing now. But if I am going to publish a book, I'm going to be a little bit more careful in what I write. And instead of talking only about the gospel, I will talk about an introduction, the first reading, the second reading, and the gospel. So this Father Alberto has 4 volumes, 500 pages each. I'm not going to ask you to read. But, you know, in the liturgy we have year A, year B, year C. This is year C now. And then he has a 4th volume, Feast Days. Okay? So I have translated the books, 4 volumes, 500 pages each, into English, Spanish, traditional Chinese, simplified Chinese. Well, it's ready. So every week we give you only one. For example, actually on Tuesday I will send 2 because it is Christmas. So I will send a video for midnight mass, okay, and I will send another video for weekday mass because the gospels are different. So giving you the choice to meditate on the word of Jesus, of the gospel, because Christmas is so important. And actually, 26 is Sunday, so I should put another one, but I will wait a couple of days not to club. Plenty. Understand? Para kanino ito? Who are the beneficiaries? Anybody who wants around the world. You see? The other day I received a phone call, a message from a companion of mine in Argentina. He says, there is a Franciscan priest here in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, that somehow he found a video that you published. He wants to get in touch with you. I said, yeah, please. He wrote to me. I called him up. And he's fascinated. He's a biblical scholar. He's fascinated with the depth and the beauty of the commentaries. And I said, Father Martin, Franciscan, now he's helping me in the translation. About 6 months ago, I received another message, this time from Brazil, from a doctor. He said, the message, he said, dear Father, I do not know you, but a friend of mine, a priest in Colombia, mentioned to me about some material that you have on internet, and I read some of that, and I like it very much. So I said, okay, I can add you. He said, because he speaks Portuguese, but he can understand Spanish. Spanish, Portuguese. After a couple of months, he said, Father, can I ask you something? I said, well, what is it? We never met. We never seen. Can I translate that into Portuguese? And this doctor is translating that into Portuguese, and we are publishing in Portuguese as well. And he tells me that sometimes he goes with the patients he has to attend, and he talks about the gospel with them and the things that he's learning. You see, God uses the poorest of us to proclaim his message. Sometimes we have a treasure in our hands, and we are not using it. So, I am worried that my companions are asking me, you are spending so much time in preparing these things. Are you not worried that not many people really know about that? I said, when Jesus, the event, you remember the multiplication of the bread, right? You have read that in the gospel. He asked the disciples, you give them something to eat. And Andrew finds a boy that has 5 pieces. Okay. You see? Jesus did not ask Andrew to feed everybody. Jesus asked Andrew to find the kid with a little food. Jesus is the one multiplying it. You are not the one. We have to give 100% of our time, our treasure, our talent, whatever it is. And let God do in due time. But we do our very best. It's the same for catechism, it's the same for you, it's the same for your apostolate. Don't look for success, do your best. And sharing the gospel is not about sharing doctrines. That might come later. It's sharing an experience. The experience that you have been loved by God. And Jesus is your friend. And he loves you unconditionally. Okay? And if the gospel speaks about fire, it's not the fire of hell that does not exist in the gospel. It is the fire of the Spirit. Period. How I wish it was already enkindled, a fire. It's not the burning people. It's the fire of the Spirit of God. That is why we need to study the gospel. Right? So, if you put my name in YouTube, you'll be surprised maybe, because I am reaching 2,000 videos available there on the gospel. In 5 languages. You can choose. My name is Alberto Rossa. ROSSA, you know that. It is in the book of your Bible. God bless. Okay. But I want to tell you also that this is for the study of the gospel, okay? Study of the gospel, especially for the liturgy. I'll tell you, at the year of 70, I'm still 76 right now. I'm still learning every day. Like yesterday, I translated the video for the baptism of the Lord. It's going to be on the 16th of January. And this afternoon I have to put the subtitles in Spanish when I go home. So we are going to publish that ahead of time. But there is another scholar that we discovered also, that instead of putting videos on the Gospel of Sundays, he presents orderly Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, letters, Acts, letters, Revelation. So he has, it's a program for TV in Italy, so the audience is very simple. He speaks very slowly, so it's very easy to follow. His name is Father Claudio W. He's there also if you go to BibleClaret.org. The beginning is Armelini, then below is Bobbio. And this man is a professor at the seminary in Milan, theology, Bible, parish priest, writer. He has this video for TV. So he has the Gospel of, for example, of Matthew. So he has 12 videos of 25 minutes each to give you an overall view of the Gospel of Matthew. 12 Mark, 12 Luke, 20 John, 20 Acts of the Apostles, 20 letters, 8 Pearl. In short, 100 videos on the New Testament. And I have translated that also into 6 languages. And all the 100 videos, you can look at my playlist, it's voiceover. So you can also, if you want the video to read, you can read, listen to what he's saying, because you read in English, but he's talking in Italian. Or you can listen directly in English or Spanish. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Because it gives you, you're reading the gospel every day, you have read it for years. Now, this teacher passes you through the whole New Testament. 100 videos. And then on the Old Testament, there is 100 videos. I'm working on that now. 200 videos. For example, I began with the book of Revelation. 8 videos. Beautiful. I have studied the book of Revelation, and now it's so fresh, so understandable. When you read, for example, I remember, where was it? In Macau. Yeah. Macau, one of my first cell phones. When you go and buy one, I go to the companion. And I say, okay, what number do you want? Okay? And I look for a cheap, easy to remember number. We all do that, right? So I said, 666. Kaya you laughing? Bakit kayo tumatawa? Anong ibig sabihin? So this is a typical mistake when we read the Bible. We think that this is the demon. Nothing to do. 666 is in former times, they were not the Arabic number that we have now here, but they were letters. And that was the name of Neron. So nothing to do with, I like 666. I have no problem with that. You learn many things when you study the Bible a little bit in depth. Similar thing happened to me when I was in China. I worked in China also before I could travel. I entered China more than 1,000 times. Because I wasn't born there in Macau. So I say, we went for a number for China. What number do you want, sir? 666. No, because 666 for them means nothing. But I said, there is a number that Chinese do not like. So I told the lady, 4444444. Because the sound is similar to death. So I said, I have no problem with 4. Then he said, well, it's not available. Okay, then I have to choose something else. All right. So, you see, now, I would recommend, I will give you then, if you're interested, I will pass on other links for formation, for Bible study that I am learning, and I pass on to my friends. There is also Father Piotr, the one who gave me the Caravansina. Every day he has, I'm going to give you a study of the Bible also. He's a PhD in theology. Father Piotr. He teaches in China Bible twice a week via Zoom. during the Mass, I mentioned about the chosen. You never heard about that?
There is the movie of that one. The movie.
This is what you will do. You will enjoy this and you will learn a lot about the gospel. Download the app. It's free. And it's legal. There are 70 million people following that. It's highly recommended by the church. Just the chosen app. Once you have it, you don't have to be online. I think there is no need to be online to watch it. But you watch that. It's beautiful. And there is a special that they put for Christmas, an hour and a half movie. The actors are very good. Hollywood actors. Okay. Christians, Catholics. The chosen. En español, los elegidos. Translated into many languages. Okay. I cannot see. Matanda na ako eh. Yes, the chosen. Yes, you download the app. And then if you have a big screen on TV, you can watch it there, you know it. The chosen.
Search mo sa Play Store.
Play Store, yes.
Then, search that to send.
It is.
Ito ba yun? Yes.
If you take that home tonight, today, that will be good enough. Yes.
I-install natin. Play Store.
Go there and download that for free.
Play Store system.
You will have a beautiful Christmas watching these videos. Okay?
Wala naman yung drama.
Okay. I think that you have enough. You have also to maybe to take a little time before you go 3 o'clock. It's up to us, so we can finish here. Any comment, anything? Yes.
Have you got in depth with the epistles? Because you're always mentioning the gospel.
Yes.
How about the epistles?
Yes. I just finished 20 videos on the epistles. There are 4 videos on the gospel, on the Romans, 4 for 1st and 2nd Corinthians, and then all in all the epistles, 20 videos. If you go to my playlist, my name playlist in YouTube, everything is there. But we are posting only 1 video every week, so now we started with Matthew. Now I am in the middle of Acts of the Apostles. The last one I posted is the 14th video. There are 20. After the Acts of the Apostles, I will begin with the epistles. Yeah? Now again, you can contact me. Maybe one of you have, just you give me my WhatsApp number.
Thank you. Maraming salamat. Tapos na ang aming. Thank you, Father. Thank you.